I'm not gonna waste anybody's time. You guys clicked on this video to see me defeat Millennia, so I'll pass it off to mid-editing me to fill you guys in with a recap as always. Alright, recap time. So first, I finally took care of Moog, and let me just say, I am so happy that I got that over with. I feel like there was a reason in the universe for me to give up on Millennia for that short time and go fight Moog first, because let me tell you, once I got Moog's spear, Millennia did not stand a chance. So I went back to the round table hold, I maxed out the weapon that I got from Moog's Remembrance, and then after that I went out and found a larval tier, and then I went back to Renala, respec a bit so I was actually able to use the spear, and then I went back to Millennia, and yes, I did die once, twice, maybe 3 times. There was this one lucky attempt, and you know what, this is like the hardest boss of the game, so I'm not even gonna talk over it. I'll roll the clip and let you guys enjoy it. Thank God that's over. But anyways, yeah, that was that really. I really didn't do much else. I mean, I farmed a little bit this morning, but that was the extent of it. Also, real quick, let me know down in the comments, what is your guys' favorite gift that you got yesterday if you're watching this the day after Christmas? Anyways, back to the video. Anyway, with that out of the way, I did a bit of respecking and a bit of farming. So as you can see, right now I'm level 150, and I took some of the stats out of my strength to put them into Dex and Fate. I've actually done multiple respecs at this point because in the clip, as you saw, I used an arcane weapon. I had to get my arcane all the way up to like level 27, but after I stopped using the arcane weapon, I decided to take my stats out of that and distribute them elsewhere, because right now I have a bit of an interesting build going. So as you can see, I do still have 65 strength in order to still be able to use my greatsword effectively. However, I have also been using the sacred relic sword. I got that all the way up to plus 10. Let me tell you guys thought that the bird farm was OP. You know what, I'm not even gonna say it, I'm just gonna show you guys. I was sitting there thinking that getting like 13k runes every 15 seconds was good. Dude, this farm puts the bird farm to shame. Like, it's honestly insane. I mean, sure, you have to beat the game first in order to have access to it, but it's crazy. So you come right here, you stand right here, and I found that usually you have to hit it twice in order to hit all of the targets and get all of your runes. But you go 1, and then you go with 2. And then normally you just run back to the site of grace, but we're just gonna wait here for a second just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Easy 40k runes right there in a matter of, how long was that? Like 20 seconds. And even still, like, we missed a few of them. Like, there's one of them sitting right here. And if I would have aimed it better to hit all of them, yeah, it would have been an easy 40k runes. It's just insane how good this spot is. I sat here for like 10 minutes earlier, got 1,000,000 runes, and I was like, all right, time to go do other stuff now. Anyway, we are getting closer and closer to being done with all the remembrance bosses. I do plan on doing like a new game plus run of this game and possibly respecking and doing like a new build and trying a different build for the game, because in every Dark Souls game up to this point, Dark Souls 1 through 3, I did Strength, and Elden Ring, obviously, I went Oonga Boonga the whole way way through. So I kind of want to respec. I don't know what I'm going to go for. I don't know if I want to go for like Faith or Magic or Dex, but I kind of want to try Magic just because I've been talking about maybe going back to DS2 to do like a Magic build of my own time, but I kind of feel like it would be fun to do it on Elden Ring. Even though it's a big game, I feel like that could be fun. Anyway, that's what I've been up to. Oh, I also went back to Ashen Capital and I got the Erdtree's Favor +2. That thing has been amazing. The thing that I kind of like about the Erdtree's Favor is the fact that it isn't actually directly tied into your stats, like your actual levels, like the same way that the Radagon Sword Seal is, for example. So something like the Radagon Sword Seal, you know, it boosts all of your stats up by 5 levels, but the thing with the Erdtree's Favor is it doesn't matter what level you are, and it just increases like the raw numbers, which is good for somebody like me that is already at a lot of the stats, you know, soft cap. At this point, I still want to level up Endurance to get my weight load a bit higher because I want to get to a point of where I can hold Sacred Relic Sword and Greatsword at the same time. I know it's going to take a mighty load of equip load in order to be able to do that, but it'll be worth it. So right now I have a bit of like a hybrid build, quote unquote, I guess you could call it, where I use my Greatsword, and then if things get real finicky and I'm not feeling too good about how the boss fight is going, I pull out the Sacred Relic Sword and I just kind of stay at a distance and do the big golden wave thing until they're dead. Look under my stamina bar, dude. That is too many buffs. It's at a point of where I don't even know what buffs are up there. I don't want to cheese this boss too hard. I mean, I'll try using the Greatsword. I've tried fighting Placidusax, however you say his name, a couple of times, and it has not gone well. This boss has been rocking me. I just don't do good with big enemy fights in Souls games, especially dragons. I do terrible at dragon fights. I've never beaten a dragon boss in any of these games. I should probably go out and look for more golden seeds too, because right now I have my flasks allocated a little weird. I have 8 of them in Crimson Tears and 4 of them in Cerulean Tears, which I feel like might be a little too much. I might try to put a few more into Crimson Tears. My biggest problem with dragon fights is just like the camera is so bad in these fights. You either have to stay behind him and hope that you can stay safe and hope he doesn't do an AoE, or you can stay in front of him to keep track of his attacks, but even then it's harder to get windows to attack, and it's just a whole thing. I don't really like dragon fights in these games. My strategy is usually just stay behind him, do a few Lion's Claw attacks, and hope that you can get him down before he gets you down. One thing I like about this boss, though, is he is pretty easy to stagger after you do enough damage. Again, you just gotta get lucky and hope that he doesn't do an AoE before you get him down. Bye-bye. I've gotten him close to dead a couple of times, and it drives me crazy, because, like, I know I can kill this fool, like, with how many times I've gotten him close to death, but I'm choking at the, like, weirdest time. It's gonna be one of those days, ain't it? My biggest problem with this boss is the boss run. Why do I have to run so far? That's like the one thing that deters me from actually wanting to keep trying it. It's such a far run. I haven't tried actually using the Sacred Relic Sword against him. I mean, I've tried doing the wave attack, but it didn't seem like it was doing too much, so maybe I could just do like raw attacks and see if I have any better luck with that maybe. I'm gonna try to redeem all of our remembrances before we start New Game Plus, because I don't know if this is how it works, but my plan is to go into New Game Plus 1, get all of the remembrances again, and then get each of the boss weapons, because obviously each remembrance gives you access to 2 different weapons, so I want to go through and get each of their weapons. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to try to do it. I really don't know if choosing the Sacred Relic Sword was better than getting Marika's Hammer, but I just went with this for farming purposes. I know it goes against the whole Soul Sigma of like, don't farm, play it legit, but it's like, oh my god, I don't want to spend all the hours exploring and doing this, that, and the other. I have a few things I want to do, I just want to level up again, get this over with so we get into New Game Plus. Because once we do the New Game Plus run, I'm going to do things in order this time as we go through the areas and try to get like a more complete experience rather than the first time where we just kind of like beelined it to the credits. Alright, so this time, here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to try to use my Relic Sword as like an actual attack weapon rather than just a focus point weapon. Because the Golden Wave attack eats up so much of your FP that I just viably couldn't do it throughout the whole fight. And again, it hasn't done that much damage to him any time that I've tried before. Do any damage? 300 damage. Oh my god, that is abysmal. I don't even know how much stats would help with this because the scaling on this weapon is admittedly like pretty awful. I'm pretty sure in Dexterity and Faith, it's literally only a C scaling, so I guess I could, what would that be called? A quality where you kind of like equally distribute the stat. Why do people like hype this boss up so much? I don't like this. I have an issue with Elden Ring's endgame bosses. It's just that they're not fun to fight. Millennia was not fun, Moog wasn't fun, and this guy, he's just... It's the boss run. The boss himself isn't that bad. It's the boss run. Is it bad at Chaos bad? No. But it's still pretty bad. I guess I'll try to just Lion's Claw him to death. I don't know, man. Maybe I don't need so many flat. Maybe I can get by with just 10 Crimson Tears and only 2 Cerulean Tears. I kind of honestly just want to break the game and go farm in my new favorite spot until I'm level 713. And I can use anything. I was actually kind of tempted to just start New Game Plus, only so I could go to that exact same farm spot, but get more runes from it, because obviously in New Game Plus, you get more runes per enemy that you kill. But I do want to try to kill these Remembrance bosses before we do that. You guys rock with the new fit, by the way. It's like, it's the old Vagabond Knight fit that we've been rocking, but I also got like the dog head on, along with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shell. Honestly, even if the Ninja Turtle shell didn't give me any buffs, I'd still wear it. I love feeling like a Ninja Turtle. I just don't understand it. Why couldn't there have been like a State America? Because obviously once you get into the boss arena, he doesn't fly down. Yeah, there could have been a State America, like right here. But no, you have to run all the way back. Alright, let's give this another shot. Yay. You know, if I could, I would go fight the other Remembrance bosses right now. It's just like, I'm in this weird spot where every time that I die, I lose all of these runes because I made the stupid decision of coming into the boss fight with all these runes on me. And while I know I can make that back quite easily at my newfound farm spot, I don't want to lose the runes, man. It's an ego thing. This is one of those bosses that made me so mad because, like, deep down, I know he's not that hard and I could beat him if I really tried. It's just like, I don't even understand, like, where I'm messing up half the time. And again, it doesn't help that half of this fight isn't even fighting the boss itself. It's just fighting the camera in order to see where he's at and where you should be attacking. I've also had people trying to tell me to do the Volcano Manor quest, but the thing is, dude, I don't know how to do Souls quests. Do you guys know how complicated those things are? I'd have to be staring at like a wiki guide the whole time that I'm doing it, and I don't think anybody wants to see a whole video of me just staring at a wiki guide on my phone the whole time that I'm playing. I mean, I'll at least try it, but it's probably not going to be anything more than like a recap section in a video, because the quests in these games are so complicated to try and follow and figure out. I'm not complaining by any means. I mean, I love the way the quests are designed. It forces the player to actually like learn it, but I mean, I also don't think anybody wants to watch me just bang my head into a wall trying to decipher how to do a quest for like an hour straight. Dude, I have him so close. I can't get hit. I need to stay on his ass. Come on. I can get him. No, AoE, no, why are the lightning moves the way that they are? I literally, like, I don't even care at this point. I don't care about death. I want it over. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... Oh my god, I'm starting to hate this game. Let me take that back. I don't hate this game. I'm hating the endgame bosses. They're so annoying. There's something about this game where every time I die, I don't even have the drive to go back. You know what I mean? Like, in the other Souls games, I always have the drive to go back. I always want to try again, but this one, I'm just like... I just want it to be over. I don't even have that craving for, like, that sense of accomplishment, you know what I mean? Like, the thing that drives most Souls players to keep going, like, I don't even care. I mean, as you guys saw in the clip, like, after I beat Millennia, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's over. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. Maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe it's because I've been playing this game a lot. I'm not sure. Again, as much as I complain, I know most of it is just skill issue or problems that only affect me. I'm not using it as, like, a thing to say that the game is bad, because obviously it isn't. This game is phenomenal. It's just... I don't know, it's just a me thing, I'm weird. We got him really close to last time, so I mean, I know we can take him, and since I put more of my flasks into the Crimson Tears, we have more health, so that helps a lot. I just don't even know how to, like, efficiently dodge the lightning, because the thing with the lightning, it's not that hard to evade, it's just the fact that, like, it's something with the way that the textures are for it. It's like, it's hard to know exactly where it's going because of the way it hogs up your screen, if that makes any sense. And even if you start dodging and moving, like, the second it appears on your screen, it doesn't matter. If you were in it for, like, any amount of time, you're basically dead. I don't even care if he kills me. I don't care about fighting the boss. I want my runes. I want my runes. That's all I want. You're going to die. You are the bane of my existence. I want you dead. You honestly annoy me more than Millennia. I never thought I'd say that, but yes, this guy genuinely annoys me more than Millennia. He's just a pain to fight. He's not hard. He's just a pain. It's just kind of weird to me. All these bosses have been like so hyped up. Everyone's like, oh, wait for Millennia, wait for Moog, wait for this Placidusax, however you say his name, guy. And I'm sitting here fighting him. I'm like, yeah, sure, they're cool, but I mean, I saw better in Dark Souls 1, 3, I don't know. I think that's what it is for me. These bosses just haven't had that wow factor for me, you know? It's like, sure, they're difficult, no doubt, but they're not really wowing me anymore. I feel like that might have something to do with the fact that this game has, you know, 238 encounters, so after a while, you stop getting that feeling in your brain of like, oh shit, it's a boss, and instead it just kind of becomes like, oh, okay, time to fight another boss. Nothing I do is good enough. I rolled like 7 times. Ow. I hate how in his, like, second phase or second half of health, he teleports all over the arena. Like, it doesn't even feel fair. You can't keep track of him the way that other bosses that had this move did it. Like, for example, think Twin Princes. That was actually, like, a fun and fair way that it was implemented, but here you have to get lucky. Maybe there's a pattern to it, but I'm not seeing it. It just feels like you gotta hope that you're lucky and that he doesn't get you, and I'm dead, and I hate this boss. I don't... Oh my god. Guys, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive. I am trying to give this game the benefit of the doubt, but I don't like these bosses. Despite my sheer hatred for these optional endgame bosses, I gotta say, the mandatory ones were still, like, some of my favorite in Souls, period. Like, Godskin Duo, sure, I understand why a lot of people hate him, but, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. At least the fight, like, made sense to a certain extent. It wasn't, obviously, on the same tier as something like Ornstein and Smo, but, I mean, it was doable. You go a bit further and get to, like, Beast Clergy and Malekith, and oh my god, that is still my favorite boss in the entire game. I love that boss fight to death. It felt like a classic Souls boss to me, and it was just so good. You had to learn the boss, learn when to dodge, and it got you into that, like, classic Dark Souls 1 feeling dance where, like, he had a set of moves you do, he'd stop, you get your attacks in, and you just kind of went, like, back and forth like that. I loved it. And after that, you had Godfrey, which he wasn't bad by any means, but he was definitely overhyped. He wasn't that hard. Radagon, I feel like could have serviced in his, like, just Radagon alone was enough to be the final boss, but having Elden Beast on top of that, I thought that was a really good fight as well. However, I must say, the fact that Elden Beast runs so much, I just... that was almost enough to kill the fight for me, but he stays within distance, and he usually does, like, it seems like he goes really far away, but once you start running towards him and he starts moving towards you, it's usually not that far that you have to run anyway, so I wouldn't really knock it that much for that. While I do kind of wish that Torrent would have been available during the fight, because it kind of makes sense, you know, they introduced this whole new mechanic that you can use during all the boss fights. It only makes sense that they would allow you to use them for the final boss, at least that's what I would think, you know? But looking at it now, it kind of makes sense. I really feel like Torrent would break Elden Beast if you really think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I think they should have just given players that decision on, hey, do you want to use Torrent or do you not want to? But I don't think not being able to use them really, like, makes or breaks the fight for me personally. But outside of that, Mog, however you say his name, just felt kind of bullshit considering the fact that he had a move that was literally undodgeable. There's crystal tears and certain things you can do in order to lessen the effects of that stab ceiling attack, but the fact that you 100% cannot do anything to evade it, at least as far as I know and from everything I was reading in the comments, then, like, that's just bullshit design to me. If you have a boss where no matter how skilled you are, you physically can do absolutely zero in order to, like, evade them or dodge them in any way, that's no. And then Millennia's whole gimmick with her lifesteal moves in the waterfowl dance is total BS. So far, Placidusax, I don't know, I'll give him, like, maybe C tier or best, B, maybe. I really don't understand how you're supposed to fight this boss. I try fighting him head on, he squashes me. I try to get behind him, he squashes me with AoEs. What do? Do I just need to respec and become a mage? Well, this is another Elden Ring boss I'm giving up on. Oh no, from here, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead, do Volcano Manor, try to get that recorded, get that done. Maybe explore Mount Gelmir, that was another one. Those were the two I was told to at least check out. Yeah, Volcano Manor and Mount Gelmir. I'll get those knocked out, and then we'll probably start New Game Plus, because at this point, I don't really give a shit to do anything else. Yeah, I just kind of want to go back through, have some fun, do my thing. As of now, yeah, fuck Placidu Ballsack, or whatever his name is. I don't like this boss. As always, a shout out to the Patrons, Kermit, Shea, Grandma, Lubity's Head, Big Daddy Maddie, Desperado, Chalupasaurus Rex, Razak, Polar, Raid, Do Webster, Low Mountain Bianca, Sprigatory, and... oh my god, I can't remember the last one, I'm sorry. But they literally just signed up before I started making this video, so thank you so much for signing up for the Patreon. If anybody else would like to, you can find the link down in the description. You can join for as low as $1 a month. It makes these videos possible, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all, and remember, don't go hollow. Peace. This is a video that could almost be made on its own, but considering the fact that I just spent this whole video bitching and complaining about Elden Ring, I felt like I just needed to include it last minute here in the video. I'm hoping that I can get this part recorded, edited, and like re-export the video in time to get it up. If you guys are watching this as soon as the video drops and HD isn't available, well then it's because I'm recording this mere hours before the video is supposed to go up, so I'm hoping I can get all this done in time. But I owe all of you an apology. I have been sitting here bitching, complaining, and whining about Elden Ring and its boss design for the past couple weeks, and as I was fighting this dragon, it hit me. It all hit me. There is a few things I have been doing wrong, but there's also a few things wrong with the games themselves, and we're gonna talk about it. I don't have any notes, any scripts for this. We're just gonna break this down piece by piece and hope that it all makes sense. So let's start from the beginning. Dark Souls 1, it's a very slow, methodical, dance combat type of game, if you get what I'm trying to say. Dark Souls 2 took a few of those elements away. In some ways it sped things up, but in other ways it kind of also slowed things down in terms of how slow the enemies are to attack, but it also gave you a few options to be a bit faster, and with the new engine, things just felt a bit smoother overall, and dodging was a bigger part of the gameplay loop, and shields really weren't as advisable as they were in Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls. And then you get to Dark Souls 3, things are just sped up to an incredibly fast rate, not to mention if you play Bloodborne, like if you played these games in order that they released, then you played Bloodborne just before this, so you were coming off of the super speed high that you get with that game, and then you hop into here, and things, again, the shield isn't as viable. You can still use it, but the emphasis definitely is on dodging, and just using a shield throughout the game, it's not gonna work. I mean, it can work, you can make it work, but it's not very viable at all. The way to play really is to dodge, and that's just due to the fact that the gameplay is so fast now. Like, it's almost impossible to keep up at the speed that you need to be while using a shield, blocking, regenerating your stamina, unless you want the fights to take like 15 minutes a pop. And then Sekiro, obviously I haven't played, but you know, that game sped things up even more. And then Elden Ring is basically just Dark Souls 3, but a bit faster. And with the speed, do you know what comes with that? It comes with more room for mistakes. And it also, with that, comes with more room for things to feel like absolute bullshit. For example, back in Dark Souls 1, the gang fight of that game was Ornstein and Smough. Smough was a very slow, big fat golden man, and anytime he even tried to strike you with his hammer, it would take him like 10 seconds to do the whole swinging animation. However, Ornstein, sure, he was a bit faster. He did his lunges, he did his strikes, but it was still quite slow. For his animations, I would say it took a good like 2 or 3 seconds for him to get a swing off. Then let's compare that to the gang fight of Elden Ring, the one that everybody hates and calls sheer and pure bullshit. Godskin Duo. Well, the Smough equivalent, the big fat inflatable marshmallow looking man, he does some big hefty attacks, but he does them in about a quarter of the time that it takes. It only takes him about a second or two to telegraph the animation and get the hit off on you. And then the smaller Ornstein equivalent, well, same situation there. He can knock your ass out in just a few seconds if he wants to, leading to the fight feeling like more bullshit and reflex based more than actually skill based. Now, while this is not a critique or something I am holding against the game, this is just a fact. It is an objective fact that the game is much faster than something like Dark Souls 1, which, when it comes to the type of people that are complaining about Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3, me included, that are quick to call the game bullshit or not sticking to the typical FromSoft formula that we've come to love and know, it tends to be players like me. And I think that's just due to the fact that we started with games like Dark Souls 1 that were much slower, much more methodical, and due to that, you got to get this sense of respect for your enemy, and every time that you fought them, just due to the fact of how long it took them to do their animations and how slow everything was, and also consider that those enemies had much less in terms of the attacks that they could do, and when they did combos, the combos didn't last as long, so it got burned into your brain, because every time that you saw them go to do a telegraphed attack, it was like, okay, they're about to do this, and it was this real slow process. It was easier for your brain to pick up on in the moment. And again, they didn't have as many attacks. You know, Smough and Ornstein only had about maybe 5 or 6 unique attacks both, if I recall correctly. Now let's compare that to any boss from Elden Ring. They have like a minimum of 10 different attacks and combos and ways that they can execute each combo per piece, leading to them being a bit harder to learn and definitely much more advanced than their prior counterparts from previous games. Now, I don't want to drag this out for any longer than I have to, so let's just kind of cut to the chase here. My problem with Elden Ring, well, it's not really my problem with the game. I would rather put it, the thing that has been holding me back from fully appreciating, learning, and loving Elden Ring is coming into this game with the mindset of, okay, I beat Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I've been through the worst. I'm gonna crush this shit. And now that I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm getting mad at myself for not being able to crush the game. Therefore, like, in most of the times that I've been raging at this game, if you pay attention to what I'm saying, very few times am I actually critiquing and yelling at the game itself. Most of the times, if you pay attention to what I've been saying in my commentary, it's, I'm useless. Why can't I do this? Why am I fucking up? I'm blaming myself, and therefore, you know, they say your mind is your greatest enemy. And in this case, for me with Elden Ring, it has been my worst enemy, because every time that I die, I blame each death on myself, and therefore, I'm dragging myself down, I'm losing confidence, losing motivation, and therefore it leads to the moments where I'm like, yeah, this game's bullshit, you know, I don't want to play it no more, I'm too bad at it, I don't even want to learn it, and it goes from me hating on myself to then putting that hatred onto the game, and it's just, it's a toxic thing. And again, that just comes with the fact that I've been way too cocky. I think just because I've beaten Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, that I am hot shit, and nothing can touch me. I'm like, I mean, I say it in all my episodes, yo, I spent all these hours on Ornstein and Smough Wire and keep Shrine of Amada Soulless Cinder, I should be able to take anything on. But this is a Souls game. This is a From Software game. So the only person I have to blame for my distaste or dislike for some of the elements in Elden Ring is simply myself. I have been doing it to myself, and for anybody that has been annoyed of hearing me bitch, complain, and whine about the quote-unquote problems with Elden Ring, I sincerely apologize, and I'm sorry for being so ignorant. Now, is there problems with Elden Ring, and do I stand by some of the statements that I made? Most definitely. Fire Giant, I do believe that Fire Giant is still objectively one of the worst examples of game design that I have ever experienced in a video game, period. I mean, I could make a whole video just critiquing all of the bad examples of game design riddled throughout that fight. It is just abysmal. But it seems like that's pretty common knowledge amongst the Souls community and any player that knows anything at all about game design and the like, and the only ones that seem to defend it heavily and not point out any of the game's flaws are, you know, the toxic diehard fandom. It's like, there's nothing wrong with these games. These are the most perfect games in the world. No. Every game has its flaws. I'm looking at my Audacity and I see I've been dragging this out for way too long, so let me just get to the point. I went back into the fight with the dragon, and I did something I have not done since Dark Souls 1. I went into it with the Dark Souls 1 mindset. I didn't go in there saying, this boss is bullshit, I'm gonna have to get lucky in order to kill him. Or I didn't go in there saying, I'm too bad, I'm not gonna be able to kill him. What I did is I went in there for the first 3 attempts that you guys probably saw in this clip, as I've been talking for way longer than I planned to, so I'm probably gonna have to stitch like multiple attempts of B-roll together. But anyway, I went in there with the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna learn him, I'm gonna analyze his moves, his patterns, everything. And I treated it like a Dark Souls 1 boss. And you wanna know what happened? This boss that I've been stuck on for days, I crushed within 20 minutes. My first attempt, I focused solely on what his hands are doing. I focused on that. I got him down almost dead. Second attempt, I focused on that again, but I also paid attention to what he does with his wings and try to get some patterns as to when he'll do his tail strikes when you're standing behind him. Guess what? Almost got him dead again. The third time, I started to pay attention to everything that I had learned previously to see how he ties some of his combos together, if that makes any sense. Like, the previous attempts, I had been trying to see how he executes the attacks, and then the third attempt is when I've tried to more analyze carefully how he strings each attack together, along with the aerial attacks, teleporting patterns, etc. And I focused on each little part that I could, and fourth attempt, should I even talk over it? I think I should just roll the clip. I am fucking proud of this. So just to kind of sum up everything that was going through my mind, as soon as I went in there from the last 3 attempts of me just trying to learn, and again, this all happened within 20 minutes, a boss I've been stuck on for days. After just studying him for 20 minutes, I finally crushed him. I went in there and I was like, okay, I know right off the rip he's going to do 3 lightning attacks. And I knew that each one was going to target me specifically, so I dodge one, dodge the next, dodge after that, and what do you know? He stopped doing the lightning attacks and I had an opening. So I started to punish, and from there, I mean, you guys saw the clip. It went my way. Sure, I still got tossed around a good bit because it's not like I learned him to a T absolutely perfectly, but a lot of the moves that I was getting absolutely annihilated by throughout the duration of the video that you guys just watched was now suddenly a cakewalk. So again, I'm gonna save the rest of my thoughts, and because I have so much going on in my head, I could write like a 5,000 essay script right now and get this like, I can make this last section of the video like at least 30 to 45 minutes. But I'm not actually gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write this script. I'm gonna write everything that's going on through my mind, and I'm not gonna post it here on the main channel, but I will post it on my second channel in a week or two, to describe my thoughts of Elden Ring and why I think a lot of the people that are quick to call this game and its endgame bosses and some of the bosses in general bad design or bullshit or just wrong. I am also of the mindset of anybody that says that this game is balanced around the summons in terms of the endgame bosses or just any of the bosses in general, like, that's also a false statement. I mean, I'm a noob, as you guys know, and I've even fought like Godfrey 101 and Gods Can Do a 101, and it's really not that bad once you try to learn their moves. So here's just some final thoughts that I'm gonna give out just to kind of wrap out this video. We'll start with number 1, the apology. I apologize for being so annoying throughout the duration of the Elden Ring series and being so quick to harp on myself and also call the game bullshit without actually trying to properly learn it. Going forward, I'm going to go into each boss fight with the, I'll call it the Dark Souls 1 mindset. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to dance with the boss. You go in there, you dance, you learn their dance moves, you learn how to counter the dance moves, and next thing you know, you got a nice little thing going. I do still stand by some of the things that I said. For example, the giant enemies and the camera problem is a huge issue. Even once I started to learn the dragon fight, I was still fighting the camera a bit more than I would have liked to, and the lock-on system wasn't always working the way that it should have been, and there has to be a better solution for the lock-on, or I mean, not even the lock-on camera, just fighting bigger enemies in general. Like, even when you try to lock off, you're still fighting the camera. When you lock on, it's an absolute nightmare, so hopefully something can be figured out in terms of that by the next FromSoft game. And I still stand by the fact that some of the bosses in this game just really weren't it. Like, for example, Moog, the fact that even if you learn that boss to a T, and he can still do that ceiling stab move that hurts you, I don't really think that's fair. If a player takes the time, the hours, days, weeks, months that it takes to properly learn a Souls boss, I feel like they should be rewarded for doing so, and they should be allowed to get through a fight without getting hit, like, at all. But unfortunately, in that fight, it's not possible. No matter how good you are, you will always be punished. There is nothing you can do about it unless you kill him before he gets to that stage, if it's even possible. It's just, I don't really agree with that. You know, Souls games are supposed to be tough, but fair. And in my opinion, fair would be, hey, you guys are on an equal playing field, and if you can outdo this fool, you know, no cheat cards before he can do anything to you, then GG, you deserve that. But the fact that he has that, like, last-ditch effort, that cheat card that you could do absolutely nothing against, like, sure, there's a slight way to counter it with the Crystal Tear, but I still can't get behind that. Also, bosses like Millennia, I still think the lifesteal was a bit much. I mean, keep the Waterfowl Dance. I think that is an excellent move. It forces Souls players to learn how to dodge every single frame of that attack. Only the best of the best are going to successfully come out on top of that fight unless they cheese it, kind of like I did with Mogwin Spear. So yes, I think that everything about that fight is fine. However, I just feel like the lifesteal is a bit much. Is it like bullshit? No, I wouldn't quite call it bullshit because it's still doable, and even a noob like me could beat her. I wish it wasn't in the fight. And yeah, I don't know. That's that. Again, I'm just kind of spitballing here. I don't have a script, so this whole talk at the end was probably all over the place. I'm going to be honest. I felt really bad for how much I've been bitching and complaining when I've been doing it to myself. Going forward, again, I'm going to try to learn these bosses before I call them bullshit, and also before I start raging, screaming, breaking my hands, and putting myself down. I'm also going to work on my cockiness. I'm, sure I've beaten all these Souls games, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm the best in the world, and it doesn't mean I can take on anything. Every Souls game and every Souls boss is different, and I need to remember that. Just because I mastered some or a few does not mean I can master them all, and I gotta be more mindful of that. I'm having this moment where I'm finally remembering everything that these games stand for and what they're all about, and it's all clicking again. So I'm excited to start New Game Plus. I'm excited to fight the rest of the Remembrance bosses, and I'm gonna try to keep looking at everything in this game with a more positive point of view, and I'm really gonna try to fall in love with this game the same way that I have with the previous Souls games. I'll keep you guys updated on when that big essay video I was talking about is gonna come out on the second channel, because I'm definitely gonna do it. There's a lot of thoughts that I have on Elden Ring now, and I kind of want to, like, critique the game per se, but along with critiquing the game, I also want to critique myself in that video and be a bit more reflective and address some of the quote-unquote problems I had in the game, along with problems that other people have had, and why me and some other players have been saying or complaining about are just simply wrong, and how we gotta get good, okay? I'll say it. I need to get good. Yeah, I'm glad I decided to boot the game up and fight the dragon again, and I'm glad I kind of had this epiphany to just kind of address everything at the end of this video, and I felt it was fitting to do it here since I spent the whole video bitching. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I definitely would love to hear your guys' thoughts and feedback down below as always. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all, and remember, don't go hollow. Peace.